is KCAL News, Los Angeles.
Now at 9, it's cold, windy, and in some parts of the Southland, rainy. And the storms aren't through with us just yet. Good evening, everyone. I'm Juan Fernandez. Pat Harvey is off tonight. This is KCAL News at 9, streaming on CBS News, Los Angeles. Well, we are back on storm watch tonight. A cold and windy, fast-moving storm is almost here, and it will bring with it rain, very cold temperatures, and snow to some very low elevations. We have live team coverage for you. Danny Roberti starts us off with her next weather forecast. You can feel the chill in the air already, Danny.
Oh my goodness, I know. There is a change out there. We are getting another taste of winter, you guys. And yeah, this storm is on the move. It's already bringing us some light rain showers, snow up in the mountains. This is kind of the first piece. It is very light if you're seeing some of these rain showers. Some light rain through Orange County. We saw some of that through Laguna Niguel and Mission Viejo. Things are clearing up, though. IE, you're starting to get in on some of this action. We've got snow up in the mountains near Running Springs. Rain showers through San Bernardino right now. And also those winds have been picking up like crazy. Take a look at this. We're talking gusts between 15 to 20 miles per hour through the Santa Clarita Valley, down through Simi Valley, up through Palmdale. We've got gusts up to about 23 miles per hour. But the big story for everyone, it is going to get really cold really fast. Tomorrow morning in the IE, you drop to the mid-40s, only reaching the low 50s in the afternoon with showers on and off during the day. It's going to be a rainy day. We're talking timing of the rain, the cold, and also the snow. That's coming up next.
All right, Danny, we'll check back with you in just a bit. Well, it is definitely feeling more like winter out there than spring tonight, and most people we met are not happy about it. KCAL News reporter Lauren Posen live high on top of the Grapevine tonight where it could snow. Lauren.
Yeah, Juan, you know, it's really cold. It's that cold that hits you right as soon as you step out of the live truck there. And I think you might be able to see my breath because it's that cold out. But the good news is it's still dry, at least for now. We did have a light rain shower that moved through earlier this afternoon, but dry and looking good, and also looking good. Look at the Grapevine tonight. Traffic moving quite nicely, and everyone's hoping it's going to stay this way.
It may be spring on the calendar, but our weather is stuck in winter.
To be honest, it's been cool for a little bit, but I just can't stand it anymore. It needs to get warmer.
Another powerful storm is knocking on SoCal's doorstep. The drop in temperature is taking people by surprise, like in Santa Clarita.
It's cold, it's windy. The wind probably makes it 5 times colder out here.
Over in Castaic, the winds are picking up, something this young girl told us she isn't bothered by.
I don't like the hot. I like being outside a lot.
The storm is supposed to pack a punch with wind, cold, and snow in lower elevations all on the table. On the Grapevine, drivers were met with foggy conditions Thursday. Caltrans is watching closely for any problems the storm could bring on the roads.
We're expecting to have snow as low as 3,500 feet, and the top of the Grapevine is about 4,500, 4,600. So we expect there may be some snow in the Grapevine. We already have crews on 24/7 shifts.
As the storm makes its way here, many are hoping it won't overstay its welcome.
I don't mind the cold, but definitely I'm ready for summer already. It's kind of been enough.
And one of the concerns with the storm is not only with the snow, but with the cold and with the rain, that could also mean the roads could be icy. And so that's definitely something Caltrans is going to be watching these next through the hours here. They have brine on standby and will coat the roads with it if needed. But remember, we've seen this happen before. If conditions get bad enough, they could potentially shut down part of the Grapevine. We saw that last year. We're not there yet. We're not there at all, but it's something that Caltrans is going to be watching as the storm makes its way through. Juan, we'll send it back to you.
Yeah, always great to be prepared. Lauren, thank you. Well, the threat of rain always brings more concern about possible landslides. In Newport Beach, it didn't even take more wet weather to make that happen there. Several homes are now yellow tagged after parts of a hillside slipped away. KCAL Orange County reporter Michelle Geely shows us.
This was my backyard.
Stephen Peisner made his way into the gaping hole where his bayfront patio once stood in Newport Beach. Chunks of cement and bricks, pipes and railroad ties came crashing down the bluff before dawn. His home and the two next to his on Galaxy Drive have been yellow tagged.
This was all flush up here. The corner of this over here was up here. We used to sit on that rail.
Stephen Peisner had a few clues late last week that something was going on in his backyard. Cracks began to develop here in the brick, and his pool started to drain. But he tells me he never imagined that this would happen. The latest landslide is on the same street where 3 properties were damaged in a slide just over a year ago. One of the affected houses was eventually demolished. Working with local officials to try and save what still remains above the slipping slope.
So the California Department of Fish and Wildlife is what governs everything beyond these properties. So when the hillside fails, that's on the state's land. And unfortunately, the city can't supersede that. They have all of the control, all of the rights.
Karen Hellberg lives next door to the house where virtually all of the yard has dropped into the Upper Newport Bay Nature Preserve. Tons of dirt and debris is now blocking an estuary in a popular bird-watching zone. Hellberg is worried for her immediate neighbors and for everyone living along the bluff.
And even though I've got the pilings, a piling can't hold on to nothing. What if it continues? I mean, we all are so shallow here with this cliff all the way through. So yeah, that's pretty scary.
There's even more anxiety about the stability of the bluff as a new storm is set to roll in. In Newport Beach, Michelle Geely, KCAL News.
And the rain is also bringing concerns about debris flow in the Hollywood Hills. One spot right there already seeing some movement along West Sunset View Drive. Part of a hillside already started shifting last night and forced a home to be red tagged for now at least. The city is waiting on experts to determine if it will shift even more. LA safety officials say they're keeping a close eye on this area and other trouble spots. City officials tell KCAL News there have been more than 20 homes in all red tagged this storm season alone. Right now, the sanitation crews kept cleaning out this home filled with trash today in the Fairfax district. Our crew saw several rats scurrying through the sea of garbage today. As of this morning, city leaders said 7 tons of garbage had been removed, and 1 ton of that is considered to be flammable and hazardous. Political reporter Tom Waite is live at the home tonight. And Tom, Mayor Bass requested city mental health teams meet with the owner of the home to help him. But when it comes to hoarders or the homeless, it's just not that simple, right?
It is very complicated, Juan, and we'll get more into that in just a few moments. But I want to show you the front yard where that massive, disgusting mess was. Unsanitary, but now it is mostly clear, and you can see the front lawn. That is pretty extraordinary. We consider what was here just the last few days. It was a sea of trash. But as you said, the big complicating issue now is how to get the man help who lives here. This was the neighborhood nightmare, a front yard filled with bags of trash, the man who lives in the home refusing to clean it up, and he was infuriated when police secured the property for crews to clear it.
Stop! That's my house! I don't want you doing anything!
LA sanitation crews, some wearing hazmat gear, spent the last couple of days clearing piles of debris and filth. Mayor Bass on scene Wednesday and Thursday, promising to get the neighborhood help and the owner help as well for what she called a mental health issue to stop the cycle of hoarding once and for all.
So I'm going to be talking to the county officials and figure out how we get care for him, because again, we can't just view this as a situation of an individual that compiled trash. This is an individual that is in crisis from my point of view.
Mayor Bass's point of view shared by the sister of the man who lives here.
That's the way he is. Once he has something, he doesn't let go of it.
But whether the man who lives in the home will get help is the big question. Whether it's a private homeowner hoarding or the tens of thousands living on our streets with mental health issues, care providers are still limited on how much they can do if the person suffering is refusing help.
And depending on the person's mental, emotional, physical health, it may be a little bit more complex.
Veronica Lewis is the director of HOPIX, an organization that does homeless outreach in South LA. Forcing someone to get help is a very limited option in California. Most times, service providers encourage help, but there are no guarantees of success.
We engage folks and try every intervention, motivational interviewing.
Healthcare providers can now petition what's called care courts to get help for those in severe mental distress. But those courts cannot force anyone into treatment, but they can at least add a new level of response.
I think that the reason some of those programs, care court and other things are important is because if somebody has reached a point where it's clear and every intervention has been attempted, that they may not be able to make decisions that are necessarily in their best interest or that impact the public and health safety of others, then sometimes, and I say this very cautiously because I think you know how I feel about people's rights, these other actions have to be taken.
For now, the massive mess is cleared, but with mental health issues still simmering, this could happen again.
This is not a normal situation. This didn't happen overnight. This obviously happened over a series of months. And from what I am learning about this neighborhood is that they have been struggling with this off and on for years.
So again, the bottom line is these care courts do offer another tool, but there is no legal way to force anyone into treatment, at least not in this situation here. Another complicating factor is the man who lives here. His sister does live close by, but the sister says they have a very tense relationship. Reporting live in the Fairfax District, I'm Tom Waite. Juan, back to you.
All right, Tom, thanks for that. Next here at 9, customers surprised by a new charge on their bill, while this rooftop restaurant in downtown LA is now charging you for security. A live report ahead. And a legal setback for President Trump, a case that won't be thrown out. And here's another live look outside Danny's full forecast as we look at a windy Santa Monica when we come back. A downtown LA hotspot is adding an extra charge on all checks. Diners at the rooftop restaurant will see a 4.5% fee on top of tipping, and it's for something quite unusual. Security services. KCAL News reporter Joy Benedict is live in downtown LA to break it down. Joy?
Yeah, I don't know if diners are going to chew on this one, Juan, so to speak, but we probably shouldn't be surprised, right? We've seen COVID fees, cleaning fees, health insurance fees all added on to our bills in the last few years, and experts say this trend is likely to continue. It's a swanky spot 16 stories high, as Perch, LA is a hot spot downtown.
The food was good, the service was good, and you felt secure.
But some diners think that safe feeling shouldn't come at a cost.
I mean, Perch is like on the 10th floor, so I feel like they're kind of taking advantage, no?
Perch is now charging a 4.5% security charge on every bill. The website says it's for additional security measures.
Well, we need security. We gotta have them. I mean, if you in a place, you want to be secure, right?
Perch Restaurant sits near Hill and 5th near Pershing Square and across from a metro stop. It was not hard to find folks outside who may make some patrons a little nervous.
I honestly don't feel that safe, so it might be necessary.
The business claims they need extra security since they have multiple floors, but some think that should make things safer.
I mean, if it was like a convenience store, then I understand, but you got to go up the stairs?
I am not surprised because of the massive inflation that we're feeling.
Sean Hyatt is a business professor at USC.
Essentially, all these fees are just trying to address the increased labor costs and the input costs.
He says restaurants have seen a decline in diners over the last 6 months by 7% nationwide. He thinks the added fees are a way to offset that, and Hyatt says we should expect to see more.
I think one of the worries that people are having is that this may affect the gratuity or the tip that you give the employees in the sit-down restaurants, because when they see the additional fees, they're like, well, why would I give another 15% in a tip?
Which is exactly what diners are saying.
And then when they flip the card around for you to pay the tip, they want you to pay 20, 25% I've seen. So another 4% is pretty insane.
I think it's a bad idea, just adding any extra charge.
Yeah, and one of the things that really leaves, I guess you could say, a sour taste in many diners' mouths is the simple fact that when you put it at the end of the bill, a 4.5%, a 5%, whatever it is, extra fee, you're forcing us to deal with your budget versus, say, if I don't eat here every night, I may not know that the salmon plate went from $32 to $34. I'm just going to pay it at the end of the night. If I see where you're budgeting everything, it makes people wonder, is this a political statement or is this something where you just simply need the money? So, every restaurateur is going to handle it a different way, but the bottom line is the bottom line. You can expect your bill to go up one way or another. I'll send it back to you.
And it looks like the Perch is being, forward by letting people know about that charge. All right, thank you so much, Joy. Well, a house fire in South LA turns chaotic when a driver runs over a fire hose. Firefighters were battling the flames at this vacant home you see here on West 76th Street this morning when a car went right over the hoses, and that sent water gushing from under the car. At one point, some onlookers got sprayed. Ultimately, crews knocked down the fire. Nobody was hurt here. And a reminder, running over a fire hose can result in a ticket. The search is on for thieves who hit a secured money storage facility on Easter Sunday, potentially getting away with tens of millions of dollars in cash. Local and federal agencies are teaming up to try to find whoever did this and how they were able to pull it all off. KCAL News reporter Rachel Kim has more on what we know so far.
It's very sophisticated. It's an operation that took some time in planning.
How did thieves manage to get in and get away with what appears to be the largest cash heist in Los Angeles history? A law enforcement source confirms to KCAL News the heist took place at Garter World in Sylmar. The amount of cash stolen from the money storage facility could be as much as $30 million.
To be able to get into the building undetected, to be able to get into an internal safe, to be able to remove that much property, some knowledge of the alarm system, the layout of the place, the camera surveillance equipment, very well thought out, very well orchestrated, if you will.
Former LA County Sheriff Jim McDonnell, now a security consultant, is following the case and is waiting to find out, among many other things, how the thieves were able to break in. The only sign that we see at the building is what appears to be crumbled up concrete on the ground and part of a wall that's boarded up.
Whatever vulnerabilities there are in the location, time, how many people are working, all of those things will be looked at very closely.
The FBI and LAPD are being very tight-lipped about their investigation, not releasing any details. We also reached out to Garter World for comment and haven't heard back.
They have access to the LAPD crime lab, the FBI crime lab, and they're moving forward with processing physical evidence.
Right now, a manhunt is underway for the thieves. Retired LAPD detective Moses Castillo believes it was likely an inside job.
To actually finally get to access to the safe, you need the access code, you need the passcode to get in there. Who's going to know that? So it tells me that these people knew exactly what they were doing.
This is something that everybody will be looking at moving forward, not just this company, but every company who's engaged in this business will look for lessons learned on this one.
Rachel Kim, KCAL News.
All right, back now to one of our top stories. We're talking about the weather, of course. It is cold and windy out there already. And
Juan.
Danny, you have more now in your next weather forecast.
Yeah, you thought winter was over. It's back. It's back in action. You're going to feel it outside. We're talking rain, wind, snow, really cold temperatures. Here's a look at that storm. It is doing its thing. It's actually moving inland right now. It's sending a cold front in, and we've been seeing some light rain showers. Since earlier this evening, we're continuing to see that. Not as much. Round one, we weren't expecting a whole lot of rain. We're talking under 1/10 of an inch of rain in some areas. But Ontario, right towards Rancho Cucamonga, we've had some pockets of heavier rain and then snow up in the mountains right there near Running Springs. Snow levels will be dipping to 3,000 feet very, very quickly. Take a look at Santa Monica right there at the pier. I mean, that camera has been shaking like crazy today. So rain is going to really pick up tonight, and it is going to become more widespread. It's going to give way to a wet Friday morning. Isolated thunderstorms are possible Friday. Snow levels are going to drop down to 3,000 feet. And then this is going to lead to a really cold and windy Friday. So look at how things pick up. This is overnight. A lot of us asleep, snow up in the mountains. And then early tomorrow morning, this is when we get the thunder activity going. And you can see some of those cells developing 6:30, making their way into Orange County, southern Orange County by 8:15. Snow levels could dip as low as 2,500 feet. We'll see on and off rain showers during the day. Another chance for some thunderstorms popping up even in the afternoon. Snow continues into the early evening, and then it's out of here just in time for the weekend. So tomorrow's going to be a chilly day for everyone. Upper 50s, mid 60s this weekend, so still below normal, but you've got the sunshine, and then the upper 70s by Wednesday. This is the case for the valleys. Upper 50s tomorrow, mid 60s Saturday, Sunday, and then we are back to the 70s on Tuesday. We stay dry, we stay sunny, and we are nearing 80 degrees by the time we get to Wednesday. All righty, team, you know what time it is? It is time for a look at this week's Shameless Weekend Weather Plug.
Hey everyone, are you ready for an epic weekend full of science, creativity, and fun? Be ready to blast off into a world of discovery and City in STEM and LA Maker Faire.
That's right. The City of STEM plus LA Maker Faire is happening this Saturday, April 6th from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m.
here at the LA State Historic Park. It's a free event. We want everybody to come down. There are over 200 science, technology, engineering, math organizations, makers. We have lowriders. We have everything that you want for a wonderful Saturday with tons of activities for the whole family.
Grab your lab coats and your creativity and join us here this Saturday. We're hoping for sunny skies. Let us know, Danny.
Yes, let us know, Danny.
Oh, I adore them. Look at that. That looks like so much fun. This is going to be such a good weekend, and I love that this involves science, technology, and it's for people of all ages. You can bring your kids out there to learn all these things, interactive. And here's the good news. We get to give you the gift of sunshine this weekend. We get this storm out of here, and we are going to see nothing but sunshine during the day on Saturday. It's going to be chilly to start. Grab the jackets, but no problem because we stay dry. Upper 50s by noon, low 60s in the afternoon. So it is going to be a great day. Grab your kids, go out there, learn science, technology, and have some fun. And I love that we have sunshine, Juan. It is about time.
Yeah, you're making it sound like so much fun, Danny, and all you need is a hoodie and a good attitude, right?
Exactly, and you are good to go. Pack the hoodie and the good attitude.
Sounds great. All right, Danny, thank you. Ahead here at 9, if you're streaming, beware. A popular service is cracking down on password sharing again. What you need to know coming up. Now at 9:30, officials with the World Central Kitchen are calling for an independent investigation into the attack by Israel on the convoy that killed 7 aid workers in Gaza. The organization's founder, Chef Jose Andres, says the convoy was targeted deliberately. We're also hearing from the parents of Jacob Flichter, the dual American and Canadian citizen who was killed in the airstrikes. Correspondent Holly Williams has more now.
And it's a major disaster.
The parents of Jacob Flickinger, one of the 7 aid workers killed by Israel's military and a dual US-Canadian citizen, told CBS News today their son was exceptional.
He was hesitant to go. He's a new father. He has a beautiful 18-month-old son.
Israel says the targeting of World Central Kitchen's convoy, all 3 cars apparently hit with precision strikes, was a mistake and a case of misidentification.
All I can say at the moment is to offer my apologies and say that we share in the grief.
A spokesman for Israel's government insisted today that Israel is setting a, quote, new gold standard in preventing civilian casualties.
And yet, President Biden has said that this was not a standalone incident and Israel has not done enough to protect civilians. I mean, is that a wake-up call for Israel?
Our fight is with Hamas, not the people of Gaza, and we will do our utmost to limit civilian casualties on both sides.
But others believe Israel is falling far short of that.
This strike is indicative of a pattern that the IDF has shown of targeting negligence, callousness towards civilians.
Wes Bryant is a retired Master Sergeant who served in the U.S. Air Force.
At least one vehicle was clearly marked and the other 2 were very clearly a part of that convoy. And that right there would have been one of the checks to say, hey, wait, this is a yellow flag or a red flag here.
World Central Kitchen had been providing around 250,000 meals per day before suspending its work in Gaza, a place where the United Nations has said the entire population of over 2 million is facing high levels of acute food insecurity. Holly Williams, CBS News, Tel Aviv, Israel.
President Biden and Israel's prime minister had a tense phone call about the crisis in Gaza. It was the first time the 2 leaders have spoken since the deadly attack on those aid workers. The president called the humanitarian situation in Gaza unacceptable. Correspondent Nancy Cordes has more from that call.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken issued a new but vaguely worded warning for Israel today.
If we don't see the changes that we need to see, there'll be changes in our own policy.
President Biden delivered a similar message in a direct 30-minute phone call with Israel's prime minister. He made clear, the White House said, that U.S. policy with respect to Gaza hinges on Israel's immediate action to better protect civilians.
What exactly is the warning that's being issued here?
I'm not going to preview steps. I'm not going to preview decisions that haven't been made yet, but there are things that need to be done.
The warning comes as a growing number of Democratic senators push the White House to impose new conditions on military aid to Israel after the deaths of an estimated 30,000 Palestinians and roughly 200 humanitarian workers. The 7 workers from World Central Kitchen were driving in a safe zone in marked vehicles and had registered their movements with the Israeli military. But they were targeted by missiles anyway in what the Israelis say was a mistake. Vermont Senator Peter Welch.
Frankly, I think we're coming to the point where the president is going to have to make a profound decision, and that is, are we going to stop sending U.S. munitions to Israel that are used in Gaza?
The U.S. gives Israel more than $3 billion worth of military aid every year and has approved another transfer that includes more than 1,000 500 and 2,000-pound bombs.
The United States' support for Israel's ability to defend itself from a range of threats, not just Hamas, remains ironclad.
CBS News has learned that in their phone call, President Biden asked Netanyahu to allow more aid into Gaza right away by opening specific gates and routes. And it appears Netanyahu is poised to follow through, allowing the reopening of Eretz Gate in northern Gaza for the first time since this conflict began, along with 2 other humanitarian corridors. Nancy Cordes, CBS News, the White House.
Desperate search and rescue efforts are still underway in Taiwan after the island was hit by its strongest earthquake of this century. At least 10 people were killed when the quake struck off the coast of a rural mountainous area southeast of the capital of Taipei. And the damage is widespread. Ian Lee spoke with an 8-year-old American girl who had to hide under a table when her classroom started shaking.
Commuters were traveling to work when the 7.4 magnitude earthquake struck Taiwan Wednesday. Boulders came crashing down the mountain, hitting one car and nearly avoiding another. Rescue crews now search for survivors. Over 1,000 have been injured, while more than 100 are still missing, many among the island's mountains. Up a remote valley, a drone discovered these miners stuck on a cliff. Landslides wiped out all the roads. But the epicenter witnessed the most severe damage. CBS's partner, the BBC, is on the ground.
This building is one of them that partially collapsed during yesterday's quake. You can see it's leaning over at a very precarious angle. They're worried that an aftershock could bring the whole building down, so they are reinforcing the base there to stabilize it while operations to go inside and search the building carry on.
The tremor struck as children started their school day. American Kevin Geiger's 8-year-old daughter was in class.
The teacher said, go under the table, go under the table.
So when the earth started shaking, did you know exactly what to do?
Because we had the orange, the hat in our desk, so we took it out and put it on her head.
And I was really happy that she was, like she said, being calm and not freaking out, right?
Important not to freak out, right, Claire?
Yeah.
Ian Lee, CBS News, London.
A new report shedding light on the chaotic 2021 U.S. military withdrawal from Afghanistan. You probably remember these images here. State Department officials now saying the plans were made from scratch following the fall of Kabul. 3 top State Department officials testified to House investigators about the final days of U.S. presence in Afghanistan. The closed-door interviews are part of an ongoing investigation into the 2021 evacuation, which involved the death of 13 U.S. service members. Back in 2021, John Bass, Jim DeHart, and Jane Howell were the 3 officials rushed to the country. According to interview transcripts, they had little time to prepare and no evacuation plan in order. The House Foreign Affairs Committee plans to release a full report later this year. In other news, the Oakland A's are moving to a temporary home in the Sacramento area before the team permanently relocates to Las Vegas. Today, the team announcing the A's will leave Oakland after this season and play the next 3 years and possibly even 4 at the minor league home of the Sacramento River Cats. The announcement comes after the team failed to reach an agreement with the city of Oakland.
Some of the greatest players in baseball, whether they be athletics players or Aaron Judge and others, launch home runs out of this very intimate, the most intimate ballpark in all of Major League Baseball.
The team will play in West Sacramento for 3 years with the option of a fourth. The A's plan to move to Las Vegas in 2028. All right, hard feelings for that Dodger fan who snagged Shohei Ohtani's first Dodger home run ball. Chris Harry is here now to explain more on that. Chris?
Yeah, Juan, the wait was finally over for Dodger fans as Shohei Ohtani hit his first home run as a member of the Blue Crew last night at Chavez Ravine.
The storms that hit our area last week are brutalizing the Northeast. Hundreds of thousands of homes are now without power after nor'easter hit. CBS's Christina Rex has more on the early spring storm that brought lots of snow.
A spring nor'easter dumped more than a foot of snow in parts of Maine. It came down hard and fast, proving too much for this snowplow. Icy power lines sparked widespread outages. By midday, 40% of power customers in Maine were in the dark. The storm turned deadly after strong winds toppled trees, killing 2 drivers in Pennsylvania and another 2 outside New York City. In Derry, New Hampshire, officials believe a woman was killed after a tree fell on the home, causing a propane tank to explode. Here in Massachusetts, 60-mile-an-hour winds and strong waves battered the coast, causing street flooding and property damage.
A wave must have hit window high and just come through.
Patrick Foley is cleaning up after a high wave crashed through the door of his beachfront home again.
This is the second time this has happened in the last 3 months.
This is just from today.
This is just from today.
This is all part of the storm system that started on the west coast last weekend, where heavy rain caused part of Highway 1 in Big Sur to collapse, cutting off the coastal community. Officials now urging residents to evacuate ahead of more storms to come.
I'm just going to go stay at a hotel in town for a couple of days and wait till after the rains and see how it goes.
Back here in Salisbury, the cleanup is underway. This storm has worsened beach erosion in this area and is threatening homes. Homeowners want the state to step in to protect their houses. Christina Rex, CBS News, Salisbury, Massachusetts.
Well, parts of the Bay Area also getting hit with a rare dusting of snow. CHP shared these photos of snow in the Santa Cruz Mountains. This is west of San Jose. Snow was reported at elevations as low as 1,500 feet in some Bay Area spots. Well, as for our local weather, brace yourself. We're in for some wind, cold weather, and rain. Danny Roberti joins us now with one more look at our next weather forecast. Danny. Thanks for watching KCAL News at 9. KCAL News at 10 starts right now.